dare.
'Team, happy 5.1 day. It's finally here, and I thought I would make a video just showing kind of the start of 5.1 of the story. So major spoilers ahead. Major spoilers. Right in here you can see spoilers, right? Spoilers. Okay, you've been warned. So we are going to get out of our house construction getup, get into our summoner getup, and we are going to go to Mordona. Let's see how this goes. So if you're looking to continue the storyline, you want to go to Mordona. And then you want to go to Revenant's Toll. There we go. And notice all the other people trying to do the same thing. That's one of the best things about game patch day, is how many other players you see. Real fun times to play the game are patch days, obviously, and then the start of events. But here's Tataru. She seems eager to make up for lost time. Callicles, gods, it's good to see you. I hope your being here means you've had your fill of rest. I think so. More than my fill, not so much as 40 winks, truth be told. We'll go with that. You're too selfless, that's your problem. But you'll be no good to anyone if you don't break every once in a while. Anyway, not much has happened since your last visit. I had planned for you to meet that helper I told you about, but he refuses to answer his link pearl. I do hope he's alright. We've been exchanging messages with the Eorzean Alliance throughout, though. They say the fighting has finally stopped at the Gimlet Dark, and that the Empire's shown no sign of movement. Which means we might actually have a moment to ourselves for a change. Seeing as you're back, maybe you could tell me more about your time in the First. It was amazing. Great! Oh, and if you don't mind, I'd like to ask Flemmin to join us. She'll want to know what happened to Minfilia, and I think it's best she hears it from you. We'll meet you at the terrace at the House of Splendors. Alright, we have our quest. We have a quest! And it's called Not the Trouble with Truffles, and not the last pillar to fall. Yes, I still need to beat the containment base, and I still need to finish the Hildebrand questline. But anyway, the fun part of this is you will get to see me kind of flounder around trying to figure out where to go. Because like right here, I'm supposed to go into this wall, apparently. And I see people jumping down, so that's a good sign. It looks like we need to go upstairs. And I do know there's a set of stairs here to the left. Aha, we made it. Alright, another tip. If you're surrounded by a bunch of people like this, try to catch the icon. A lot of times I used to try to click the person, and there'd be a huge crowd just around them. Everyone's being pretty respectful here, but there'd be a huge crowd around them, and I would never be able to get to the quest. Callicles, it's been too long. Tataru did mention that I would be joining you, did she not? Yep, blah 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 blah. Thank you. Words cannot express how I have longed to know more of the first. This world, Minfilia, has sacrificed so much to save. But come, rest your feet. Tataru should be arriving shortly. It's a little laggy today. I'm sure it's just the number of players on here, but I don't normally have any jitter at all. And so Minfilia chose, oh shoot, sorry I missed that, to have such a burden thrust upon her as a child only to embrace it when given the choice. In that respect, they are quite alike. It would seem her legacy is indeed in capable hands. Callicles, might I ask a favor of you when next you return to the first? To tell Reen what I cannot. To tell her thank you. Yep, I can do that. And I would offer thanks to you as well for staying with her to the end. Begging your pardon, but could I have a word? A pirate. Rio, I hope you're not here to tell me you've received word from our helper. I wish, nay. I've had a peep out of him, haven't had a peep out of him, and it's been a good long while now, on account of which I'm going to sneak over to the border and see if I can get a signal to force him from closer up. But what if they catch you? There must be another way. Well, it ain't as if we can ask Thancred to do it. Besides, I shouldn't have no trouble picking me way through the gimlet now the fighting's died down. Gods know there's enough shadows to hide in. And it beats waiting around here twiddling me thumbs. Any road, I just thought I'd let you know. Now I'd best be... Dun dun dun. Ack, I nearly forgot. Kryle's at the stones and she wants a word. Something to do with the patients. She was getting ready to examine him again when I left. This accent's terrible. And it didn't start that way either. We'd best head back then. Oh, no, Tataru doesn't get that. We'd best head back then, basically. Bye-bye. I'm gonna get Reader of the Year for this business. Audible's gonna be calling me up being like, hey, I saw that YouTube video of you reading the 5.1 quest. We'd like you to come and do your crappy accent for us for audiobooks. I'm gonna be like, no, I only do it for Final Fantasy 14 patch release dates. Alright, there's Tataru again. It seems she's examining them. Oh, I do hope it's nothing bad. Blah 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 blah. Blah 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 blah.
You're here. Good.
So, how are they?
Still locked in slumber, but otherwise in good physical health. For the present, at least.
For the present? Oh no, is something wrong with them?
I'm afraid there may be. I summoned you after detecting faint signs of instability in Thancred's corporeal ether. But subsequent examination suggested all 5 might be affected. And when I examined them just now, my fears were confirmed. Tellingly, the degree of instability varies between them. Thancred exhibits the most notable signs, followed by Y'shtola and Urianger. The twins' ether, meanwhile, remains relatively stable, but there is a change there too if one knows to look for it.
Hold on. Isn't that the order they were called away in?
indeed. Which leads me to believe the instability will only increase with time. Though I can but speculate, I fear this may be a symptom of a weakening link between body and soul.
By the gods! What happens if the link is broken?
I cannot say for certain. This is all unknown territory to us. Yet whatever happens, it cannot be good. Mercifully, the instability is still only slight. And you may rest assured, Master Matoya and I will do everything in our power to keep it from worsening. Be that as it may, it is imperative that you find a way to restore our friends' souls to their bodies.
Leave it to me. No rest for the righteous, eh? No rest for the righteous, eh?
I realize you've only just returned from saving 2 worlds, but time is not on our side.
But where's he even supposed to start? We had the greatest minds in the realm hunting high and low for an answer, and they ran out of places to look.
You stated in your report that the Exarch had originally intended to reverse the summoning process by means of his own death, correct? Raha always was a reckless young fool, ready to die for the first righteous cause that came along. His plan might well have worked, but I for one am glad he never had the opportunity to see it through. Even if it does mean our friends must remain stranded a while longer. There is another way, I am sure of it. And the key lies with him, with the Exarch. Pray return to the First and apprise him and the others of the situation. We, meanwhile, will do what we can from here. And, if the fates are kind, we will have good news to share upon your return.
So basically, if you're watching this video, hopefully you've played through Shadowbringers, but our bodies, our friends' bodies are stuck on the source, and they're kind of in other bodies over on the First, while their original bodies are here on the source. And it sounds like the ether, or kind of the force or life force in this world, is weakening, and Thancred's is the worst, and he was the first to be pulled over. And we've been asked to go talk to the Exarch about it. I have heard or read that this story in this patch 5.1 does start a little slow, but that it does pick up quite a bit around midway through. So expect a little bit of a slow burn, kind of like what we've been experiencing. The other thing that always stands out to me like crazy is when they change voice actors. And Tataru seems to be the same, but it sounds like they have a different voice for Kryl. So we'll see. I believe the Exarch will be the same as well, which is good. So I'll keep recording for a little bit if anyone's interested in kind of how the conversation goes with the Exarch, and we'll go from there. So to the Crystarium we go. I think it's the Docile Gate, I believe, is how we get to the Exarch. I'm probably wrong. Holy cow, I'm not. So here we are in the Crystarium, and it's dark out because, you know, Shadowbringers. At first I wasn't sure about the Exarch's voice. It sounded a little too modern to me, so it sounded a little bit too much like, you know, someone you'd talk to today, versus kind of a more old-timey, but it's really grown on me, for sure, so good job. Ah, Callicles, you are returned. I hope your time in the source, actually I should try to be a little bit more Exarch-like. Ah, Callicles, you are returned. I hope your time in the source was suitably restful. Not that good. But of course, it wasn't. Go on. He's a little more throaty. Their corporeal ether shows signs of instability. By the gods, the possibility never occurred to me. If you have returned in the hope that my research has yielded a solution, I fear you will be sorely disappointed. 'Tis but a mercy we have the likes of Mistress Kryl and Master Matoya to keep our friends' bodies safe while we wrestle with the problem. But they cannot forestall the separation of body and soul indefinitely. Come, the others must be told. Yeah, it's definitely a lag day for sure. Please don't have changed Alphino's voice. Please don't have changed Alphino's voice. Please don't have changed Alphino's voice.
Pray excuse my late arrival.
Will Thancred and Reen not be joining us?
Nay, milady. With apologies to all, they beg leave to pursue their investigation of the empty to its conclusion. Should matters here demand their presence, however, they did assure me that they would make themselves available.
Yes, of course. Then let us proceed. I think it best that you begin by providing a summary of Mistress Kryl's findings.
I suppose it was only to be expected that some change would occur.
Yet our souls seem unaffected, to my eye at least. How long they will remain so is another question. Kryl is right. It is imperative we find a way to return to the source.
Perhaps an explanation of the method by which I brought you here will yield some inspiration. Ere I begin, it must be noted that I am by no means a gifted mage. In order to employ powerful magics, I must rely upon the Crystal Tower and its boundless reservoirs of energy. The magic that summoned you was no exception. 'Tis a singular spell, adapted through painstaking effort from the technique that transported me to the First. To use an analogy, it works by cutting a hole in the fabric of reality. A hole tailored to the object of summoning, through which it and it alone may pass unscathed. Though I succeeded in creating said hole, I failed to latch onto my intended target. Instead of you, the spell found those close to you, and ended up summoning them in their incomplete state. I would not soon throw my life away, not after the lengths you and yours went to save it. And so long as I breathe, I will spare no effort to see you safely home. But should all else fail, and your lives be at stake, there remains one sure method.
What was that for?
How can you even entertain such thoughts? You owe your life to the Warrior of Light, and you don't get to die unless he says so.
Your followers await your divine judgment.
What did you just...
If the two of you have finished, perhaps we could return to our discussion? Rather than dwelling upon the multiple failed attempts at transference, I think it would behoove us to focus on the solitary success. I would draw your attention to the fact that our friend can travel between worlds possessed not only of his body and soul, but his personal effects besides. This is no different from the teleportation magics to which we are all accustomed. Magics that allow for the transportation of those inanimate objects one considers to be an extension of oneself.
Are you suggesting that simply by considering us his possessions, he could carry our souls back to the source upon his person?
Well, it would be nice if things were that simple for a change. But vague notions of ownership seem a rather tenuous thing to stake our lives on. So much as a moment of doubt on his part, and we'd be left floating in the rift.
Milady hath the right of it. The requisite fixity of belief would be too much to ask even of our friend. Yet, were we to immure our souls within an object in his possession, mayhap then our safe passage could be assured. White Auracite would, I believe, serve as a suitable vessel for this purpose. It was conceived to imprison the massy soul of an Ascian, and should house one of ours with relative ease. We would need only to ensure our soul's safe preservation inside the stone, and identify a means by which they might be transferred back onto our vacant bodies.
Soul preservation and transference. I believe I know of someone who may be able to assist us. On the far shore of the source, there stands a great palace built by the elves. It was forsaken in the wake of the flood, but a certain Numo chose to make their home there soon after. Though they have long lived as a recluse, they once occupied a place of honor in Verbert's royal court, and it is said that none in all of Norvrant is more knowledgeable than they on matters of the soul.
Well, I've no objection to seeking a helping hand, but if they've gone to such lengths to hide themselves away from the world, what makes you think they'd be willing to lend us one?
A worthy question. Years ago, I myself tried and failed to solicit their cooperation in the battle against the Sin Eaters. No sooner had I begun to make my plea than they unleashed a swarm of their familiars upon me. Unlike me, however, you have curried favor with the Fae folk. By that merit alone, I am hopeful that they would grant you an audience. They may still be inclined to turn you away, of course, but if their knowledge might feasibly facilitate your return home, we have to try.
Alright, we got our food. The end of the first major quest, and we know what we have to do. Our goal is to return our friends to their bodies in the source. So kind of wrapping up that loose thread from Shadowbringers. And I'm very pleased to say and to announce that other than potentially Kryl, I swear it's different, tell me if I'm wrong, I'm pretty sure that's a different voice. But other than Kryl, all the other voice actors with everyone we've met so far are the same, so that's a big win. I know it seems like a small thing, but wow, when the Realm Reborn Alpha No switched to the current one, it was really kind of jarring for me. So we get very invested in these characters and invested in their voices, and I'm rambling, but it's glad to see that the voice actors are the same. So I'm gonna cut it there before we get too spoilery, but you kind of got an idea of what we're about and what we're doing. So hopefully you enjoyed and you're enjoying the game and the new patch.